You're listening to the Downshift podcast, taking you trackside for all things motorsport. We're four mates from Melbourne breaking down the races, the drama, and everything in between, all with a little banter and a lot of passion. If you love motorsport and cars as much as we do, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you're always on the grid with us. So it's lights out, drop the clutch, and let's get racing.
Welcome to another riveting episode of the Downshift as we discuss the upcoming race in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. We're four mates actually, from down under, chat all things Formula One. One's still missing in action, but hopefully he'll be back next week. This episode, we're going to throw a Max Verstappen shrimp on the overheating Red Bull Barbie. We're going to have a chat about the black stuff, track and stuff. KT will take a look through Leclerc's flying mirror on the 2024 race. And Will Ocon and his minimal rear wing on the track that suits low downforce take control. Layout and car setup. Is this Ferrari's race to lose? Strong past performance by Charles and Lewis, who holds the lap record. And we'll have a chat about the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship. Handsome George, Mr. Consistency. And Zach's going to have to pick B1 or B2 between these two drivers to see who's going to go to the top. And how the Wookiees going to perform. The rookies are going to perform at Jeddah on this high-speed track. And then we'll wrap up with our accurate predictions of the race results as always. So KT, we'll throw over to you for a bit of a track summary for Jeddah.
So if we look this back in 2024, Jeddah was actually the second race in the calendar. So we're seeing this being a little bit later in the season, not too much later, but and if we go back to 2024. This was actually when Checo was doing well in the Red Bull. So the result was Max first, followed by Checo second and Charles in third. And just for honourable mention, Oscar sitting in fourth place. Ironically, coming off the last race in Bahrain, where we did see Lando Norris jump the start. Ironically, Lando Norris jumped the start in Jeddah as well in 2024. So,
how did Stroll go?
Actually, it was a really iconic race for Stroll. For those who were paying attention, you may recall that Stroll actually he bumped the car on the corner of turn 22 and buried the car into the wall on 23. And my favourite comment from the entire race was his race engineer got on the can saying, "Can you ever get home?" And the response was, "No, I'm in the bit wall." So that was my favourite moment of the race there. And for those who do recall, this was Ollie Behrman's debut race for Ferraris. So when Ollie got subbed in for Ferrari and actually got points, so he brought 6 points for Ferrari in that race as well. So
pressure's on for him to perform again this year. Then
absolutely. So from that perspective, it was an interesting race. It was a great track. Which I'll throw over you, Lachlan, to talk about some of the details of the track.
Look, the track's been around since 2021. So when they were originally designing the track, my understanding is they went on Google Earth and looked at the design and said, we want something that's going to be absolutely fast-flowing, still technical for the drivers, which will challenge them, but they didn't want to have a really, really tight street circuit where it was too many hairpins and 90-degree angles and things like that. So if you look at the actual layout of the track, it is quite free-flowing. There's 27 turns in total. 16 being left-handers, then 11 being right-handers. Obviously, we're going counterclockwise for this track as well, so it does tend to put a bit more pressure on the left-hand tyres. Right-hand tyres.
The other right.
That way.
As you're looking at it, yeah, not in the car.
Yeah, so, but you look at that and go, but it's the second fastest track on the actual calendar. So you look at that going, we're sort of averaging about 250k an hour. So it should be really, really interesting from that point of view. 3 DRS zones as well. So we're hoping, good action, good overtaking. I think off memory, one of their DRS zones is actually on a sweeping corner as well. So if we can get them to light that up and overpass on a take as well, could be some good racing to be had.
Yeah, I really do like that about this track is that, Monza, the Temple of Speed is the fastest track. And obviously this is second to that. But we've got because of the length of the track as well. I mean, this is a almost a 6.2 kilometre track. So it is a longer track. It's got some great technical corners. It's tight in some spots, but then it's also sweeping in others. And the DRS zones are great because you've got one on the straight, one on the sweeper, and one going through the curves. So it mixes that up in regards to the passing opportunities, and then if for those who are familiar with the track as well, from the start, you're coming down straight into some very tight, more than 90-degree turns that you're coming through. So it opens up.
Could be good pile up for the first corner. You could be right.
Making for a good start.
Absolutely. So from that, so as you were saying, Dan, we're having a look in regards to the car setup. This is a low downforce track. So if you look at the races we've had so far, so we've had 4 races to date. A lot of these races are high downforce tracks. So you're now seeing a change in the setup for the cars. So those cars who have traditionally done well, and you can see the McLarens have done really well in a high downforce track, it's now going to be a change to the setup of the cars to be able to deal with that. You're seeing lighter abrasion on the tyres. So you're actually going to get more life out of the tyres. Pirelli have changed the tyres for this race, going further C3, 4 and 5s in regards to the compounds. And so you'll see that there is, again, we go back to the potential of a one-stop strategy. So, but they have gone for the softer tyres to try and shift that up a little bit. Your race statisticians will be thinking in regards to whether or not a two-stopper could be a possibility here as well.
How well those tyres have been wearing this season, I reckon a one-stopper could absolutely be on the cards for most of these teams.
Yeah, the tyres have been doing well, haven't they? This so far this season.
Yeah, whatever that Pirelli compounds they're using now, much better than the last couple of seasons we've seen. And no dead laminations, no nothing at the moment. They are really absolutely holding up perfectly in racing conditions.
And Dan, to your point there, you've said that this potentially could be Ferrari's race to lose. Ferrari, both Charles and Lewis have driven well on this track. Charles got the qualifying Q1 for last year, and while he came third, has been strong. Lewis holds the track record as well. So with that, which is 1 minute 37.34. Thoughts in regards to Ferrari, Dan?
Well, I think we're all waiting with bated breath to see some success from Ferrari. I mean, they haven't been, well, can't say they've been terrible, but they've. We still want to see them do well, and I'm where everyone's still waiting for Lewis to find his stride, and maybe on a track that he's actually done really well at before. This might be the time to. I think he did well in Bahrain. Didn't get right up the pointy end, but better.
They have the pace though to go the distance this weekend against, for example, the McLarens, against even the Williams and Mercedes, for example.
Nah, not at all. No, McLaren's going to win.
So it's just written them off. Yep, go on.
Nah,
yep.
I mean, it'd be nice. Well, I said it'd be nice to see them do well. I didn't say they were going to.
But if you do look at Bahrain, though, I mean, this is where both Charles and Lewis were 4th and 5th. So, again, they're moving their way up. Unfortunately, they had the unfortunate double disqualification in Japan. But as we see now coming through this, is Ferrari inconsistent, but when they are on song, they can be quite good. So, who's to say what we could see coming from both?
We've still got 20 races to go for a season, so it's we've just sort of scratched the surface at the minute, and everyone's sort of bedding themselves in, but they are sort of progressively coming up the pecking order and actually moving along nicely. So it'll be interesting to see if they can continue, and if they can continue, could it be 2nd and 3rd this weekend?
Well, like I said last week, like you got McLaren top constructor from last weekend, and then there's Ferrari. Mercedes had a break or had a gap. Red Bull did have a gap. And everyone else had just an individual driver. So in terms of team result, McLaren and Ferrari are doing well. McLaren are going to continue to do well, but you're right, with a different downforce on this track. But clearly they'll adjust for that. But, presumably the car will deal with it, but maybe it's different driving style for the drivers.
Yeah, and then look, we mentioned McLaren, and this is where the real challenge for McLaren here is with 2 number 1 drivers as to what that means for the championship, what that means in regards to constructors. Because again, if you've got Lando and Oscar who are fighting it out for first and second.
So if you had to pull them aside right now, who would you be going? You're the number 1, and I want you to be number 2.
Oh, that's an easy response. It's Oscar number 1, Lando number 2. I honestly don't think Lando's got the headspace.
Yeah. Oscar just doesn't get phased by anything, like that. And I think there was something in. I saw some interviews where they were there was some offhanded remarks made by Max Verstappen a couple of weeks ago, going, "Oh, if I was driving the McLaren, or if this is what I'd do, or this is where I'd be, or I'd be faster than the McLaren." And then there was a bit of to and fro, and Oscar was very much like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." And then Lando sort of got up and said, "Oh yeah, no, it's." So he's had a little bit more to say about it. So Oscar just gets the job done, and he just keeps his head down, and he's just not phased by anything. He's not phased by success. He's not phased by failure. He's just level headed, and he's
laid back Australian way, mate.
oh look, he is, but he's getting the job done, and I think that's the way, because if you let it get to you psychological, I think I don't know, it felt a bit like that, in Bahrain. It felt very much like Lando was working hard and really trying to prove something, and chasing really hard, and it's always hard when you're the chaser, trying to get in front. But obviously Oscar had a bit of an easier drive, just sitting at the front and doing his thing, and not really having to worry about any real challenges to get through.
Having clean air that whole race as well is obviously a definite advantage as well.
But I think you did see this in this is the post-race room as well. You saw the interplay between Lando, Oscar, and George.
Well, there was
very different grid spaces.
You mean
George and Oscar?
Yeah, you mean
Absolutely.
George and
Yeah,
Oscar were
much
very playful's the wrong word, but they were just cruisy, and they were just having a good time. They were just good mates who just I don't know. Well, obviously raced together, but and Lando was a bit off by himself, sort of maybe kicking himself that he didn't take advantage, or that he needed one more lap to get the job done. But I think, Zach said at the start of the race there was a lot of not pressure, but Zach was very confident getting 1-2 finish, and probably Mercedes maybe didn't have the same amount of expectation. Obviously, they all want to win, but perhaps didn't really think that they were going to. I don't know.
Well, I do like watching the cool room parts where they have that, and they watch the highlights, and you watch their faces going, "Oh, look at that! Oh, didn't realize that happened." And even when
Oscar goes, "Wasn't that you?"
Yeah. Even Sonoda and Sainz, when they had that incident together, and they're like, "Oh," and you sort of look at it and go, "It's actually interesting watching their reactions to those 2 minutes of clips put together, all that, because they got no idea. They're in the car and they're not in that incident. So I don't see any of that stuff." So,
well, I think I realised after the race that maybe Bahrain wasn't as boring as I thought as Japan, because the post-race summary went maybe twice as long as the one from Japan, because Japan was a very brief post-race.
Very dry, in a line, off you go. That was it. There was no excitement in that.
So we're expecting some more interest in this then, in Jeddah? Opportunities for overtaking.
Yeah, there's some great corners to be able to battle on. There's again, I think if I compare Bahrain and Saudi, is that with Bahrain it's probably a more boring track, to be honest. When you look at Jeddah has a lot more action in it, and the position of the DRS zones, plus also the cornering is good. So there will be some good tactical moves by drivers. There'll be some good tussling as well. And being able to do that. So
some excitement for you, Dan. You'll be right, mate.
Yeah.
Nice. Good. That's just what I need at 3 o'clock.
Which will be good because it's 3 a.m. Yeah, that's right. But going back to, and this is just, sorry.
I was just saying, I think I was trying to watch P2 the other night, and I'm like, there wasn't enough interest in it, because, they are timing it, but they're all just doing setups and stuff. And it's like, I feel like I need to watch it, but I'm like, it's kind of boring.
Commitment is amazing for that, mate.
That's it. Yeah. Dan's demonstrating to our listeners the passion that we have for motorsport.
Well, I had a quick kip on the couch and then watched the race after that. So, it's just powering through. It's all good.
Doing the wrong order.
But just moving back to, and this is where with McLaren and Zach needing to be able to make a decision here, is that, look, this can be done in a soft way in regards to, let the drivers get in front, but, let them battle for it. But ultimately, if you've got someone who's going to be more calm, more level-headed, and I think we have that in Oscar. My favourite comment from Oscar from the last race at the end of as they do the winners interview. And so, it's a great win because, again, this is where Bahrain owns McLaren. And so this is their second home race. Oscar said, I reckon there's going to be a really big party, but I'm not getting involved because I have a race next weekend. So again, he's focused on being a professional driver and just doing that. The other challenge for McLaren is that you see Handsome George, Mr. Consistency, is we've seen George do really well in regards to third and second places. If he can continue to do that, and then you've got McLaren who are fighting it out for 1 and 2, which is going to drop them invariably back to other positions, and we saw that happen with Lando as he was 7th in China, you'll see that this actually will cause an issue for them. So,
well, they're going to base it on whoever qualifies. Like, say you got one, well, last weekend, for example, where Oscar was first, Lando got 6. Obviously, you're going to go, we're going to back Oscar. But if they turn around and go, all of a sudden one comes pole and the other one gets 4th, are they just going to go, whoever's on pole, you'll lead for the day?
I think it's more a case of if you've got between the two drivers, you've got a preference one in the end. Who's going to be the one who's going to have the better chance of getting the drivers' champion, but also how are you going to maximise the points for the constructors' championship as well?
Yeah, and you're right. Like if George is doing well, he's just doing what he needs to do, and if Antonelli gets a little bit better, which he will, he'll creep up. Then he'll start nibbling away at some points at the bottom end as well, and I'll have to keep an eye on it.
Yeah. So speaking of Antonelli, I mean, obviously from that perspective, we've seen the rookies who have now had 4 races in a sprint under their belt. What are your thoughts in regards to how the rookies are going and who's going to do well for Saudi?
I'll jump in if you like. Look, well, no, I'm about to jump in for this one. So, well, you've got to be impressed with Antonelli. You know, the kid's still with his mum making his cut lunches to go, you know, to practice each day. So, you know, for the way he drives is phenomenal. And given this is his first season in it, I reckon he's got a really solid future out of it. And if they can actually harness the raw talent that he has and put a car under him that can deliver, him and George can go places like that. That will be a force to reckon with, especially if they can get this new package next year going. This would be the year they can get all the kinks out of him. Okay, you know, you got to smooth this up, do whatever you need to do. If they can have him prep for next year, he'll have a blinding season next year. Who he certainly wasn't.
Ollie Behrman. I mean, and Ollie Behrman, I mean, you know, this is where for the Haas, I mean, Haas, who you and I both predicted will be Toyota Gazoo Racing next year. So, you know, Ollie's started well last year, doing a couple of drives for Ferrari and also Williams.
Yeah.
Doing both of those races really well. As I said, in this race in Saudi, he actually got 6 points for Ferrari in his debut race. I reckon Ollie's one to keep an eye on as well. Yeah. I think he's got potential to do really well here because Haas has been doing really well. I mean, you know, they're in 5th place in the Constructors' Championship.
They're doing better, aren't they, Haas? Like I remember watching it on Drive to Survive, and they were a bit of a joke when, and I can't think of his name, was the team principal, because he used to make a lot of, sorry? Gunter, yeah, you know, and I think everyone loved to watch what Gunter was doing. And obviously they're always going to focus on Gunter losing over the bad times because that was the most interesting stuff to see. So, you know,
which
you kind of go, oh, geez.
Haas at that stage.
That's all.
Yeah, well, it did. It felt a bit like Faulty Towers. You know, Gunter was Basil Faulty, and they were just, you know, Basil, and there was a whole lot of carry on. But you know, look, they've actually got some stuff together. Like they're doing much better for probably still a small team too. Ollie's a good driver. He'll do well. I mean, Bortoletto's going to struggle in the Sauber. That's just. He's going to have a really hard season. They'll stick with him. Lawson and Doohan, you know, Lawson's. He's going to take him a few races to get over the whole incident. I think he's just and Jack, but yeah,
he needs to beat himself in and just get some laps down and get to know that car and just start getting consistency. Yep.
Yeah, Antonelli, Behrman, and Hadjar are probably the 3 that are going to, do okay.
Yeah. And Bortoletto, wait till Audi gets in there, actually provides him with actually gives him a car to drive. I mean, as I said, the Sauber is a brick, and you know, trying to put that thing around the track is next year. It's almost as hard as the Red Bull.
What does a driver like Bortoletto do for 12 months though now? Like in a car that just can't do anything. What's he got to learn?
Still racecraft.
I think it's racecraft, the tracks, and the speed. I mean, no, we're talking about 1,000 horsepower vehicles, you know, shooting around the track at 250 kilometers an hour. You know, if you go to Formula 2, the power in these cars is double the power that they've been used to in Formula 2. So really, just get used to it, get settled in, learn as much as you can from Nico as well, and then also be a part of the program as Audi's starting to get on board.
That way he can give the input the way he likes to drive. He likes to have the car set up. So when they get the new package, he can go, well, I can slip straight into it because it's designed around the way he likes to drive.
I mean, Nico must be looking forward to a new car too. Yeah, well.
No, absolutely, yeah.
Both of them are like that. they're making up numbers on the track at the minute, realistically. No one's expecting them to come through and win anything.
So with that, obviously, as we start to look in regards to what our predictions are for the race, it's a hotly contended battle for points in regards to this. Now, as our viewers or listeners can see, Hubby isn't with us at the moment, so
I offered to put his tips in for him this weekend, and he came back with no.
Well, I mean, my suggestion was Hulkenberg pole, Hulkenberg win, Bortoletto second, Stroll third, and apparently he decided that wasn't good enough, so he actually has sent his tips through. So I'll start with Huppies for Saudi. So Huppies gone boring but consistent. He's put Oscar for pole, followed by Oscar in first, with Lando coming in second and Handsome George in third. Schwags, how about before over to you? What are your thoughts in regards to?
Yeah, I probably should have done some research on this one. I mean,
Do you want to throw it to
McLaren's-
Lockie then?
Oh, no, that's okay. I'll give it a crack. I've got nothing to lose anyway. So, I mean, yeah, you're right.
Everything to gain.
The McLarens are going to do well again. Look, I'm going to give Charles another chance. Actually, nah, Hamilton's not there. Lulu's not
Give him
there
that
yet.
high chance.
And,
No, Lulu's not there yet.
Okay, Leclerc's going to come third. George will come second. Oscar will win it. Max will get pole.
So George second.
Actually, no, Max won't
Oscar's
get
going
pole.
to come first.
Lulu will get pole. Lulu.
Okay,
Pole.
so we've got. Wow, that
Lulu
is
for pole.
So you're going to go.
Oscar
Wow. Okay.
go big or
No,
go home.
this is. I'm liking this.
This could explain.
You're
why
hedging
got
your
2
bets.
points.
You guys would have nothing to. You'd have nothing interesting in your lives if it wasn't for me.
Oh, look, I'm going to spend the rest of the week thinking about these predictions. And we've got.
I'm not going to
What?
waste that much time.
So I just want to make sure
What a
we're
muppet.
100% Lewis in pole.
Lewis for pole. Yep.
He's writing these
Oscar
down
for
as well.
first.
Yep.
George for second. And Leclerc for third.
Okay.
Well, Christian, you might as well take the third predictions here. Let's go.
Well, absolutely. So look, I'm also going to be a little bit Mr. Boring with Happy. I've got Oscar for pole, Oscar for first, but I've got Charles coming in second, and I've got Handsome George coming in for third. How about you, Lockie?
Well, I am sort of similar. I am thinking that Piastri is going to take pole. I get the gut feel he's going to win the race as well. I feel that Leclerc will come in second and Russell will be third.
Yeah, excellent.
Who's Leclerc?
Charles.
That's the Australian accent. It's very wrap your head around it sometimes.
No, excellent.
You haven't put yours.
Oh, I'll put mine. I'll do it. I've got it down here.
So you're cheating
Oh,
later on.
right,
That's all.
yeah. Yeah. He just changes
You're
it
with
later.
me, so you can vet it. So it's all good.
It's amazing what a fibre can do, Christian.
So coming this weekend, so we've got Saudi Arabia at the Jeddah track. For those who will be watching the race and everything leading up to it, on Friday we've got local time FP1 starting at 4:30 p.m. in the Southern Hemisphere. Here in Australia it's 11:30 p.m. FP2 will be 8 p.m. In Saudi Arabia, which is 3 a.m. So same as the race start time here in Australia. Saturday FP3 will be at 4:30 p.m. So again another 11:30 with quali at 8 p.m. or 3 a.m. in Australia. And then the race will be also at 8 p.m. and 3 a.m. We're seeing temperatures in the high mid 30s, going down to the mid to high 20s. So again, we're going to see similar to last weekend. So you'll see that really it's only going to be FP2 and quali, which is going to be representative of the actual race conditions. And so you'll see, as we said, it is under lights, so you'll start to see the track cooling off considerably as we go into the evening as well. So
Look forward to it.
absolutely. So with that brings us to the end of our episode for the preview for the Jeddah Grand Prix in Saudi Arabia. We look forward to reviewing that with you next week. And until then, we'll see you on the next lap. That's the checkered flag for this episode of the Downshift. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out with us in the paddock. If you enjoyed the ride, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss a lap. And hey, if we've earned it, drop us a 5-star review. It really helps us climb the grid and reach more motorsport fans. Until next time, keep it fast, keep it fun, and we'll catch you on the next lap.